I am not an addict. I am the addict. The addict I invented to keep this show on the junk road. I am all the addicts and all the junk in the world. I am junk, and I am hooked forever. Now I am just using junk as a basic illustration, extended. I am reality, and I am hooked on reality. Give me an old wall and a garbage can, and I can, by God, sit there forever. Because I am the wall, and I am the garbage can. But I need someone to sit there and look at the wall and the garbage can. That is, I need a human host. I can't look at anything. I am blind. I can't sit anywhere. I have nothing to sit on.
Can you all hear me? No? Yes. All right. This is the from the Forwards, The Place of Dead Roads, a novel I have just completed. The original title of this book was The Johnson Family. Now, the Johnson family was the turn of the century expression to designate good bums and thieves, and it was elaborated into a code of conduct. A Johnson honors his obligations, his word is good, and he's a good man to do business with. A Johnson minds his own business. He is not a snoopy, self-righteous, troublemaking person. A Johnson will give help when help is needed. He will not stand by while someone is drowning, calling for help, or trapped under a car. Nothing extraordinary, just a reasonably well-intentioned person. I recollect Brion Gysin, Eon Somerville, and your reporter sitting at a table in Tangiers having an espresso, and a man walked by. Nothing special to look at. Spanish, middle-aged, obviously poor, shabbily dressed, carrying one of those nameless parcels wrapped in brown paper. Nothing special, no halo, but our mouths dropped open in unison. My God, that's a harmless-looking person. He passed. I never saw him again, but I got the message. That man was a Johnson. He shone with a holy light in contrast to those of another persuasion who seemed to dominate and populate the planet, rushing along to the police station to lodge a complaint or inform on someone, writing letters demanding the return of flogging and capital punishment, urging castration for rioters, leaving little swirls and squiggles of hate and fear and malevolence in the air behind them, literally kept alive by the hope of doing some harm to somebody. And then the vision of a man, just a reasonably well-intentioned person. Very extraordinary and rare indeed in these times. The book postulates that man is an artifact designed for space travel. He is not designed to remain in his present state any more than a tadpole is designed to remain a tadpole. I am talking, of course, of biological designs, not religious. But the species is in a state of arrested evolution. Kim sets out to organize the Johnsons into a worldwide space program and finds himself opposed by very deadly and powerful forces. Old man Bickford, the cattle and oil baron, one of the poker-playing, whiskey-drinking, evil old men who run America. To these backstage operators, presidents, and cabinet members are just jokes and errand boys. They do what they are told to do or else. His subordinates never know why they have fallen from favor. That is for them to figure out when his displeasure falls heavy and cold as a cop's blackjack on a winter night. All evening, Jess Sanford has been feeling the cold fear the old man can instill in his underlings. Then the old man beckons him into a little side room containing one chair. The old man sits down and smiles. You know, Jess, I got an intuition about you. I think you'd make a mighty fine president. Jess turns pale. He knows Bickford has already picked out a vice president. He is hearing his death warrant. Oh, no, Mr. Bickford, I don't have the qualifications. I disagree with you. I think you do have the qualifications. You got a big front and a big mouth. Now Jess knows he talked too much at the wrong time in the wrong place. Please, Mr. Bickford, I got a bad heart. It would kill me. Bickford's smile widens. Now any man has his choice. I could fix you up with a job as a congressional lavatory attendant. But come to think of it, I don't think you have the qualifications. I think you'd be the man under the attendant, the one who cleans the place out. All right, Mr. Bickford, I'll do my duty. I know you will, Jess. I know you'll give this job everything you've got. And this is John Stanley Hart, the newspaper tycoon who's obsessed with immortality. The thought that his being could ever stop gives him a terrible feeling and fills him with a grim resolve. I will live forever, he decides. In his youth, Mr. Hart wanted to be liked. In fact, he made sporadic attempts to be a nice guy. But niceness was so deeply alien to his nature that these ventures tended to be unfortunate. He entered the bar with the best intentions in the world of establishing a warm human relationship with the local people. He walked into the bar with his fishing gear and a bit of a swagger. Have to stand up to these people, you know, they respect you for it. He found himself somewhat stonily received, and turning from the bar with his mug of beer to face the room, he maladroitly snagged an old peasant in the scrotum with his fishing plug. He whipped out his switchblade with a poorly timed attempt at easy joviality and said, well, I guess we'll just have to cut the whole thing off. Turning away, he made an ineffectual gesture from a New Yorker cartoon with his knife, inadvertently blinding the proprietor's infant son. Seeing that all his friendly overtures had fallen lamentably flat, he saw fit to withdraw as expeditiously and unobtrusively as possible. Well, Mr. Hart isn't trying to be a nice guy anymore. It contributes nothing to his immortality. Acting on the simplistic assumption that death cannot die, he sets out to be death. He learns to kill through his newspapers. He teaches his editors the tricks as they crawl up his ladder. Now you just move this tenement fire over here and burn some more niggers. Chuckling over roasted babies, car accidents, and riots like a southern lawman feeling his nigger notches. Mr. Hart has to be inhuman because humans are mortal. And Mr. Hart is addicted to immortality. He is addicted to an immortality predicated on the mortality of others, gooks, niggers, wogs, human dogs, and feeling his own contempt for these apes affords him a mineral calm. He's addicted to a certain brain frequency. A little high blue note feels so good, that feeling, he could just swim in it forever and ever. This cool blue frequency comes from making hands tremble and sweat, from feeling the dear meritorious pour wriggle and slobber onto his boots, from making people ugly and grinding their faces in it, from knowing he can squash an editor like a bug and seeing his editor know it. You see the action, B.J.? This soul-searching tycoon with this dark side to his character. Actually, it isn't the Johnson family itself that disturbs the Bickfords and the Harts. At least it would not have concerned them if it had been just another criminal organization like the Mafia. That they can take in their stride. What they didn't like to see was wealth and power in the hands of those who basically despise the usages of wealth and power. This was intolerable. He must be stopped. Introducing Kim Carson, hero of a novel that I've just finished entitled The Place of Dead Roads. Kim is a morbid, slimy youth of unwholesome proclivities with an insatiable appetite for the extreme and the sensational. He has a dark side to his character, and he loves it. His mother had been into table tapping, and Kim adores ectoplasm, crystal balls, spirit guides, and auras. He wallows in abominations, unspeakable rites, diseased demon lovers, loathsome secrets imparted in a thick, slimy whisper, ancient ruined cities under a purple sky, the smell of unknown excrements. In short, Kim is everything a normal, decent American boy is taught to detest. Progressive education. When Kim was 15, his father allowed him to withdraw from the school because he was so unhappy there and so much disliked by the other boys and their parents. "I don't want that boy in the house again," said Colonel Greenfield. "He looks like a sheep-killing dog." "It is a walking corpse," said a St. Louis matron poisonously. Years later, Kim settled that account. When informed of her death, he said, "It isn't every corpse that can walk, hers can't." "The boy is rotten clear through, and he stinks like a polecat," Judge Ferris pontificated. Now, this was true. When angered, aroused, or excited, Kim flushed bright red and steamed off a rank, reddish animal smell. And sometimes he lost control of his natural functions. He took comfort from learning that partially domesticated wolves suffer from the same difficulty. "The child is not wholesome," said Mr. Kindheart with his usual restraint. Kim remembers his father's last words. "Stay out of churches, son, and don't ever let a priest near you when you're dying. All they got a key to is the shithouse. And swear to me you will never wear a policeman's badge." Kim decides to go west and become a shootist. If anyone doesn't like the way he looks and acts and smells, he can fill his grubby peasant paw. Kim's training as a shootist begins. He meets a wise old assassin, whispering Kess Mayfield. "Uncle Kess, this is Kim Carson." The old man spoke in a dead, dry whisper. "Your head and your eyes know a lot more about shooting than you do. Just learn to stand out of the way." Now his eyes, old, unbluffed, unreadable, rest on Kim as if tracing his outline in the air. "City boy, did you ever see a dog roll in carrion?" "Yes, sir. I was tempted to join him, sir." "Did you ever see a black snake pretend to be a rattlesnake?" "Yes, sir. He coiled himself up and vibrating the tip of his tail in dry leaf. Brrr." "Kim, if you had your choice, would you rather be a poisonous snake or a non-poisonous snake?" "Poisonous, sir, like a green mamba or a spitting cobra." "Why?" "I'd feel safer, sir." "And that's your idea of heaven, feeling safer?" "Yes, sir." "Is a poisonous snake really safer?" "Well, not really in the long run, but who cares about that? He must feel real good after he bites someone." "Safer?" "Yes, sir. Dead people are less frightening than live ones. It's a step in the right direction." "Young man, I think you're an assassin. Kim makes his bones. As soon as Kim walks through the swinging door, he knows this is it. 2 men at the bar by the door. One is tall and thin with a dead, sour, wooden face. The other tall and fattish and loose-lipped with lead-gray eyes. They fan out, blocking the door. Loose-lipped smiles showing his awful yellow teeth. Now, I don't like drinking in the same room with a fairy, do you, Clem? Can't say that I do, Cash. They want to bat it around a while. Kim doesn't. I don't want any trouble with you, gentlemen. Just let me buy you a drink. Kim is still talking as his hand sweeps down to his belt and up, smooth and casual, as if he is handing Clem a visiting card and shoots him in the stomach. Clem doubles forward and his false teeth fly out, snapping in the air. Clem's 45, barely clear of the holster, plows a hole in the floor. Kim pivots, both hands on the gun, and shoots Clem Cash in the hollow of the throat. The heavy slug tears through and spatters the wall with slivers of bloody bone. Cash's gun chunks back into its holster. Clem is waving around trying to recock his 45 with numb fingers. Taking his time, Kim shoots him in the forehead. Both assholes are dead before they hit the floor. Kim's arduous training has paid off in hard international currency. As Kim looks down at the two bodies crumpled there, spilling blood and brains on the floor, he experiences a rush of pure joy. 2 enemies will never bother him again. 2 lousy sons of bitches melted into air and powder smoke. Kim remembers his first adolescent experiment with biologic warfare. Smallpox was the instrument, the town of Jehovah across the river his target. Their horrid church absolutely spoiled his sunsets, with its gilded spires sticking up like an unwanted erection, and Kim vowed he would see it leveled to the ground. It was dead easy. The townspeople were anti-vaccination, polluting the blood of Christ, they called it. Around the turn of the century, there were a number of these anti-vaccination cults. It was a self-limiting phenomena, since all the cultists contracted smallpox sooner or later. So Kim simply jogged the arm of destiny, you might say, by distributing free illustrated Bibles impregnated with smallpox virus to the townspeople of Jehovah. The survivors moved out. Kim bought the land and used the church to test his homemade flamethrower. He found the plant in boy's life, a weed killer, they called it. Well, rotten weeds, you know. Kim recruits a band of flamboyant and picturesque outlaws called the Wild Fruits. There was the crying gun, who breaks into tears at sight of his opponent. What's the matter? Somebody take your lollipop? Oh, senor, I am sorry for you. And the priest who goes into a gunfight giving his adversary the last rites. And the blind gun who zeroes in with bat squeaks. And the famous shittin' sheriff turned outlaw. At sight of his opponent, he turns green with fear and sometimes loses control of his bowels. Well, there's an old adage in showbiz. The worse the stage fright, the better the performance. Kim trains his men to identify with death. He takes some rookie guns out to a dead horse rotting in the sun, eviscerated by vultures. Kim points to the horse, steaming there in the noonday heat. All right, roll in it. What? Roll in it like dogs of war. Get the stink of death into your chaps and your boots and your guns and your hair. Well, most of us puked at first, but we got used to it, and vultures followed us around hopefully. We always ride into town with the wind behind us. A wheeling cloud of vultures overhead, beaks snapping. Townspeople gag and retch. My God, what's that stink? It's the stink of death, citizens. Kim's first impressions, this Kim makes the grand tour. Kim's first impressions of England are unfavorable. The porters and hotel clerks are deferring to his clothes and his luggage, and they don't see him. He soon discovers that the whole area operates on hierarchical categories that determine exactly how everyone treats everyone else, and which are, moreover, carefully designed to make sure no one sees anyone else. Well, it's convenient, isn't it? Only in context. Function negative under space conditions. They get out of a spaceship and start looking about desperately for inferiors. Who wants that dumped in his vicinity? I remember in the trial of Lord Montague, the prosecuting attorney said he seemed to have a proclivity for associating with his social inferiors. Looking for an inferior, like a spot of fun, you know. Kim had thought of a country house or a shooting lodge in Scotland, and he decides against it. They would force him into a loathsome Lord of the Manor role, and how is your wife's cold, Grimsey? Or get him out altogether. Always consider the tenants when you buy on foreign soil. You are on their turf. They were there before you came, and they will be there when you are gone. His father's picture. Kim Carson, age 16, 1876. So many faces, yet something that is Kim in all of them, caught in his father's portrait. The face is flawed and scarred and nakedly diseased. Something animal in the face, but this is not an earth animal. Kim's alien stigma, the fact that he is not of the human species, stands out raw and shocking, like a man exhibiting his privates in a crowded marketplace. Displacement and vertigo, distant voices. Who was Kim's father? Expense account suggested illness. Illness was radium poisoning, the radioactive Carsons. Perhaps we are death, Kim thought with a delicious little shiver, and he reeked off his skunkish smell. Half-remembered bargains and commitments, old friends and enemies, remember me and me and me. Kim knew he was remembering past lives from somewhere, bits of vivid and vanishing detail. Oh, that doesn't mean he was Cleopatra in a previous incarnation or any rubbish like that. Some parallel universe, maybe, and very technical. Let someone else work out the details. Point is, Kim is remembering. He remembers the exhilaration and madness of the Black Death. Is it not fine to dance and sing while the bells of death do ring? He can feel the plague around him like a cloak as he glides through London, billowing out puffs of death with clear ringing peals of boyish laughter. Bring out your dead. What a splendid line, Kim thought. And what better thing could most of them bring out? Kim finds himself in London on Westbury Street near the corner of Ryder. He is wearing a medieval cloak, his old plague cloak, in fact. It is a beautiful garment, fine black camel's wool lined with raw silk, impregnated with suppurating lymph glands, the sweet, rotten aftersmell of gangrene and putrid blood, the sharp reek of carrion, winter smells of typhus in cold doss houses where the windows are caulked with paper and never opened. A very old cloak, Kim reflects, been in our family for a long time, picking up a whiff here and a whiff there. Cholera wards from the Crimean War, black vomit of yellow fever in Panama, the congested, sour smell of mental illness. A lovely cloak, but it does look a little strange in Mayfair. Kim billows out a few whiffs. The passers-by look at him indignantly, cough, and walk away. Well, they won't be so sassy in a few days' time. Still, it would be prudent to change into a suit. He walks into an expensive-looking menswear store on Jermyn Street. The manager prided himself on his cool. Despite the horrible odor, he observed that the cloak itself was of the finest material and probably priceless. The sandals of an authentic medieval design and deerskin with gold buckles. These considerations might not have dissuaded the manager from giving the call police signal to his assistant. It was Kim's presence that tipped the scale, menace palpable as a haze, and the voice, silk soft, caressing, sugary, and evil, with violence just under the surface. I want the complete outfitting, shoes to hats, you understand. The manager raised his hand and a willowy young fag undulated up. Arn, take care of this gentleman. Arn fingered the hem of Kim's cloak. Sweet stuff, dearie. It's been in our family for a long time. Arn leaned closer and sniffed ecstatically. Coo, what a lovely smell. It's been in our family for quite a long time. Arn leads the way to a change cubicle. I want your M6 suit, Kim told him. Something inconspicuous, sir? Exactly. The well-dressed man is someone whose clothes you never notice. That's what you English say, isn't it? Well, sometimes, sir. The cloak and sandals to be packed in one of those satchels with brass fittings. That one, Kim points. It's rather expensive, sir. The more the merrier, expense account, you know. He slaps Arn playfully on the rump. Kim was meeting Tony in Hyde Park. He got out of a cab and looked about him with loathing at the brown water, the listless ducks, the dirty, scruffy pigeons. Kim was a few minutes early for his meet with Tony. Always advisable to get there early for an operative meet and check things out. Tradecraft, you know. Maybe I should feed the fucking pigeons to be less conspicuous. A crew is one of the obvious guardsmen in civilian uniform of cheap, lumpy blue suits. Most of them look suety and stupid and vulgar. No doubt about it, these are the lower classes. One of the principal influences on my work is Denton Welch, and this is from his diaries. Here is Denton all gawky. This is called Lunch with the Sitwells. Here is Denton all gawky, waiting in the Sesame Club, and Dame Edith Sitwell sweeps in. Immediately she pours a drink down him. You will have gin and French or Bronx. Though unaccustomed to drink before lunch, he does not have the courage to demand an apple juice. Now lunch, all the old English tricks. What is potage paysanne? Edith Sitwell asked the maid, who should have replied, Lady, you know fucking well what it is. But she knows her place. Well, it's a sort of potato soup, ma'am. 3 times she called the elderly maid Mrs. Blank. Very polite, very gracious. My God, polite and gracious indeed, calling someone Mrs. Zero. The law, I think, is absolutely right. The case in point here was The Well of Loneliness by Radcliffe Hall. Let these poor people think or behave that way if they can't help it, but don't let them write bad books about it. And then Dame Edith goes on about Lady Chatterley's lover. That sort of book must often be written chiefly for money. Lady Chatterley is just. I shall never know just what Lady Chatterley was, for she never finished her sentence. Osbert Sitwell arrives. Denton feels himself with helpers and well-wishers. They're going to introduce him to famous people like Evelyn Waugh, who will later refer to him in his diaries as that horrid little bum boy dredged up by the Sitwells. Lunch is over, the rain has begun again, and Osbert appears. I am determined to get a taxi. they climb in. And now the old English trick of asking about one's family, and one brings up somebody he hopes will be impressive, or at least known to his interrogator. "What was her name?" he asked very gently. "Rosalind Bassett. I thought it sounded so pretty." Oh, that remote English, oh. Don't you know when you're being cut down to size, Denton? Apparently not. "Oh, taxi ride go on for a long time," I said to myself. Denton, that taxi ride has been going on for a very long time. This is from Kim's diary, The Old Chateau. "An old gentleman is standing by the fireplace. At sight of me, his thin aristocratic face lit up and glowed with incandescent charm. 'Ah, you are the young American. How glad I am to have this assignation with you. You must come and stay with us, the Countess and me, at the old chateau.' The Count seized both of my hands in his. 'Enchanté, charmé, oui, oui. You must, you must, you must.' 'Ah, oui, oui, oh yes, charmé, enchanté. You must, but you absolutely must.' He looked deep into my eyes with a quiet, intense charm. This slimy Count de Ville has his chateau on an island of garbage in a stagnant lagoon that reeks of sewage and coal gas. Once I arrive, there is no escape, as the old turnkey shows me his rabbit hutches and asparagus beds and beehives and pigeon coots and cider presses, stopping every few seconds to talk with his retainers. Faint from hunger, I mutter appreciatively. Finally, he takes my arm, steering me inexorably back to the old chateau. 'And now, would you like to see our portrait gallery?' 'Of course you would. How thoughtless of me not to have suggested it before.' During this rather long lull, you see, the servants always eat first. It's a family tradition going back to the Borgias. Interesting story connected with it. 5 hours later, we sit down to dinner. The old Count looks at me across the table, his eyes sharp and quizzical as he hones a boning knife, with which he will shortly cut paper-thin slices from a seasoned local ham. His voice clear and cold. 'Our recipe for jugged hare dates back to the Crusades, and there is an interesting story recorded in our family archives. I am sure our young American guest would like to hear it while he enjoys our modest country hare.' At this point, the jugged hare arrives on my plate, jet black, absolutely putrid, inert, and repulsive. I could feel his sturdy footman moving closer. The Comte's gaze was glassy as he pointed at me playfully with his boning knife. Or perhaps our young American friend is so accustomed to buffalo meat that our modest, unassuming little hare is beneath his notice. 3 footmen breathing down my neck, I choked down that putrid paste of a dead animal that stuck to my teeth like rotten tar. Invitations to the old chateau, he decides, must be viewed with extreme caution and close attention to escape routes. Kim starts home. Kim has just crossed Africa from east to west in a dirigible. The commander was way off course and landed in Agadir instead of Rabat. As Kim retraces his steps, he leaves a wake of disasters behind him. A time vacuum, a low-pressure area. The barometer dropped and dropped until we thought it was broken. Carson's was here. Here he is in Tangier, having breakfast on the terrace and reading about the earthquake in Agadir. Agadir, oh yes, he'd just been there. The commander was way off course. Lucky thing he didn't split the earth open with his bungling, the incompetent old beast. Kim read the eyewitness accounts. People who were saved because they stayed where they were, people who just got out of where they had been in time. Frantic relatives clawing at the rubble with their bare hands seem to look at him accusingly. The boiled eggs are just right. Oh, here is something juicy. An underground snake pit was ruptured by the quake, so that thousands of frenzied cobras and adders slither through the stricken city, biting any unfortunates they encounter. Trucks rumble through the ruins filled with wild-eyed soldiers clutching rusty Enfield rifles. Notice to all citizens, kill your dogs and cats. Notice to all citizens, kill your dogs and cats. Anyone trying to be a hypocrite will be punished by 20 years in jail. Despite the strict order of the government health services, thousands of stray dogs roam the streets, and the police have a shoot-on-sight order for all stray animals. However, their inaccuracy is such that citizens are frequently wounded or killed by stray bullets, while a disdainful Afghan hound swishes away untouched. Earthquakes, riots, floods, hurricanes. Kim adores hurricanes, riding the wind across the screaming sky, and tornadoes he digs special. There's a divine green-black color in the sky, tornado green, he calls it, rather like the sky in El Greco's view of Toledo. This is from Nova Express. Daddy Longlegs looked like Uncle Sam on stilts, and he ran this osteopath clinic outside East St. Louis and took in a few junkie patients. For 2 notes a week, you can sit in green lawn chairs and look at the oaks and grass stretching down to a little lake in the sun, and the nurse moves around with a silver tray feeding the junk in. We called her mother, wouldn't you? Doc Benway and me is holed up there after a rumble in Dallas involving this aphrodisiac ointment. Doc goofed on ether and mixed in too much Spanish fly and burned the prick off the police commissioner. So we come to Daddy Longlegs to cool off, and we find him cool and casual in a dark room with potted rubber plants, and a silver tray on the table where he likes to see a week in advance. The nurse shows us to a room with rose wallpaper, and we have this bell any hour of the day or night just ring, and Mother charges in with a loaded hypo. One day we are sitting in the lawn chairs with lap robes. It's a fall day, leaves changing, sun cold on the lake. Doc picks up a piece of grass. Junk turns you on vegetable. It's green, see? Now, a green fix should last a long time. So we check out of the clinic and rent a house, and Doc starts cooking up this green junk. And the basement is full of tanks, smell like a compost heap of junkies. So finally he draws off this heavy green fluid and loads it into a hypo big as a bicycle pump. Now we must find a worthy vessel, he says. So we flush out this old goofball artist and tell him it is pure Chinese H from the Ling dynasty. And the Doc shoots the whole pint of green right into the main line. And the yellow jacket turns fibrous gray green and withers up like an old turnip. And I say, I'm getting out of here, me. And Doc says, an unworthy vessel, obviously. I withdraw from the case. This folkloric text is from the Federal Narcotics Hospital at Lexington, Kentucky. There is an exclusive wing of Lexington reserved for the do-rights, who are considered good rehabilitation prospects. They get better rooms and more medication. A do-right always shows up with letters from his employer, banker, congressman, pictures of himself as an Eagle Scout shaking hands with a priest on graduation day. You know the type, falls all over himself to light the boss's cigarette. The doctor walks into the ward and says, rather warm in here. As one man, the do-rights break out in a sweat and rush around opening windows. A bit cold in here, isn't it? Immediately, the do-rights snatch blankets and bundle themselves up to a chorus of chattering teeth. Front office brown nose fink to the bone. Doctor, when I die, I want to be buried right in the same coffin with you. You're the finest, most decent, most deeply humane man I have ever known. I'm putting you down for additional medication, son. Thank you, doctor. Pushers should receive the death penalty. Of such stuff are do-rights made. Get there firstest with the brownest nose. While down in the dim gray wards and day rooms where the do-wrongs hawk and spit and shiver and vomit, a fucking croaker wouldn't give me a goofball. Ask me what the American flag means to me, and I tell him, soak it in heroin, Doc, and I'll suck it. He says I got the wrong attitude. I should see the chaplain, get straight with Jesus. And then, with the tears streaming down their lousy pink faces, the do-rights leap up as one man and bellow out the Star-Spangled Banner. This piece is Twilight's Last Gleamings, written in collaboration with Kells Elvins in 1938, commemorates the first appearance of Dr. Benway. Twilight's Last Gleamings. SS America off Jersey coast. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no cause for alarm. We have a minor problem in the boiler room, but everything is now under sound effects of a nuclear blast. Dr. Benway, ship's doctor, drunkenly added 2 inches to a 4-inch incision with one stroke of his scalpel. Perhaps the appendix is already out, doctor, the nurse said, peering dubiously over his shoulder. I saw a little scar. The appendix out? I'm taking the appendix out. What do you think I'm doing here? Perhaps the appendix is on the left side, doctor. That happens sometimes, you know. Stop breathing down my neck. I'm coming to that. Don't you think I know where an appendix is? I studied appendectomy in 1904 at Harvard. He lifted the abdominal wall and searched along the incision, dropping ashes from his cigarette. He thrust a red fist at her. And get me a new scalpel. This one's got no edge to it. The doctor flattened against a wall, a bloody scalpel clutched in one hand. The patient slid off the operating table, spilling intestines across the floor. Soar up, I can't be expected to work under such conditions. He swept instruments, cocaine, and morphine into his satchel and tilted out of the operating room. By the dawn's early light, Dr. Benway pushed through a crowd at the rail and boarded the first lifeboat. Y'all all right, he said, seating himself among the women. I'm the doctor. Thank you.
I feel that writing is 50 years behind painting, and for that reason, I've proposed several techniques which are as simple as collage or montage. All you have to do is cut right through the pages of any book or newsprint, lengthwise, for example, and shuffle the columns of text. Put them together again at hazard, and see what you have for yourself. There will be a newly constituted message. Do it. Try it. Use any system which suggests itself to you. Take your own words, or the words said to be the very own words of anyone else, living or dead. You'll soon see that words don't belong to anyone. Words have a vitality of their own, and you or anybody can make them gush into action. The permutated poems set the words spinning off on their own into ripples of meaning which they didn't seem to possess when they were first struck and then stuck into those phrases. Poets are supposed to liberate the words, not to chain them in phrases. Who told poets they were supposed to think? Poets are meant to sing and to make the words sing. Poets have no words of their very own. Writers don't own their words. Since when do words belong to anyone? Your very own words indeed. And who are you? Writing is 50 years behind painting. Do it for yourself. Use any system, techniques to writing. Things as simple, and shuffle the columns of text. Put them together, cut right through the pages of any book, own words, or the words said to be as the words of a potent phrase are permutated, don't belong to anybody. Words spinning off on their own, echoing out, have a vitality of their own, and you, or any seem to be capable, when they were struck and then stuck, words belong to anybody. Your very own used to liberate the words, not to change, have no words of their very own. Writers are supposed to think. Poets are meant to sing. I propose to apply the painter's which suggests itself to you. Take your own and immediate as collage or montage at hazard and read the newly constituted message or newsprint. Lengthwise, for example, the very own words of anyone else, living or dead, into an expanding ripple of meanings of which they did not said. You'll soon see that words, the permutated poems, set the words, anybody can make them gush into action, into that phrase. Poets are supposed words, indeed. And who are you in them in phrases? Who told poets they writers don't own their words? Since when do and to make words sing? Poets
I am this painter, Brion Gysin. This is the poet Brion Gysin. You don't owe poets a thing. This poet is in my image. This image has no words. He has no words of his very own.
1, 2, 4, 3, 5. 1, 2, 5,
4,
3, 1, 2, 3, 5,
4,
1, 2,
4,
5, 3, 1, 2, 5, 3.
4.
I've come to free the words, come to free thee. Words come too free. Words come too to free the words. Come to free the words, come to thee free words. Come to words, the free, come to free words thee. Come to the words free, come, to words free thee. To free the words come, to free words thee come, to free words come thee. To free come words thee, to free words come thee, to free come the words. Words come to free thee, words come free to thee. Words come thee free too, words come to the free. Words come free thee too, words come thee to free. Come, the words too free, come the two words free, come thee free to words. Come, the words free too, come the two free words, come the free words too. Words, thee come to free, words, thee too come free. Words, the free to come, words, thee come free too, words, thee too come free, words, thee free come too. No, poets don't own words. Poets don't own no words. Don't own no poets' words. Own no words, poets don't. Words, poets don't own. No. Poets don't know own words. Don't know own words, poets. Know own words, poets don't. Own words, poets don't know. Words, poets don't know, own. Own words, don't know poets. Words, don't know poets own. Don't know poets own words. No poets own words don't. Poets own words, don't know. Words own poets don't know. Own poets don't know words. Poets don't know words own. Don't know words own poets. No words own, poets don't.
All active, calling
all reactive agents.
All active,
Calling all active agents, calling all active agents, calling all active reagents, calling
All agents reactive.
calling all reagents active.
All agents active, calling all agents reactive, calling
All active agents. Calling all agents active. Calling reagents active. All. Calling reactive. All agents. Calling all reactive agents. Calling active. All reagents. Calling agents all reactive.
agents active, calling
All
all agents active,
reagents. Calling agents. Agents. Calling. Calling. Re-all calling active agents. Re-all active agents calling. Re-all agents active calling. Re-all calling active agents.
agents calling all reactive, agents calling re-all active, agents calling active, all re, agents calling all active, re, agents calling reactive, all agents calling active, re-all. Reactive agents all calling, reactive agents all calling, reactive calling agents all. Recalling all active agents, recalling active agents all. Recalling agents active all.
Junk is no good, baby. Junk is no good. Baby, junk is no good, baby. Junk is no good, baby. Junk is no good, baby. Junk is good? No, baby. Junk is, baby? No good. Junk is no very good. Junk is good, baby? No. Junk is baby good? No. Baby is no good. Junk. Baby is good? No junk. Baby is junk? No good. Baby is no junk good. Baby is good? Junk no. Baby is junk good? No. Is no good baby junk? Is no baby junk good? Is no junk baby good? Is no good junk baby? Is no baby good junk? Is no junk good baby? Is good baby? No junk. Is good? No junk baby. Is good junk? No baby. Is good baby? Junk no. Is good no baby junk? Is good junk baby? No. No good baby is junk. No good is baby junk. No good junk is baby. No good baby junk is. No good is junk baby. No good junk baby is. Kick that habit, man. Kick that habit. Man, kick that. Habit, man, kick. That habit, man. Kick that habit, man. Kick habit that man. Kick man, habit that. Kick that man, habit. Kick habit, man, that. Kick man, that habit. That habit kick man. That kick habit man. That man habit kick. That habit man kick. That kick man habit. That man kick habit. Habit man kick that. Habit kick that man. Habit that man kick. Habit man that kick. Habit kick man that. Habit that kick man. Man kick that habit. Man that habit kick. Man habit kick that. Man kick habit that. Man that kick habit. Man habit that kick. I am that I am. I am that I. Am I? Am that. I am. I am. That I am. I am that I am. I am that am I. Am I that I am? Am I that am? I that I am am. Am that I? Am I? That I am I am. That am I am. That I am. Am I? That I am. That am I. I that am I. I that am I am I. Am that. I am. Am I that? Am I that I am? I am that I am. I am I that am. I am I that. I am that am I. I am that. I am that. I am that I am I. Am that. Am I? Am that I am that I am that am I am that I am that I am that I am that I am
Invisible art, passing through the viewer and through the flexible mirror, back and forth, in and out. Crystal forms enfolding mirrors. The folding boy kissed by a crystal halo of distant shop windows and pale Swedish sunlight. Bus to the suburban house, Swedish modern furniture. Water hyacinths in a yellow bowl. Crinkling from the crystal mirrors. Fear of the pocket without a switchblade. Fear of the streets empty of enemies. Fear of the china blue northern skies. William Burroughs, March 22, 1970. And I'll go ahead.
Yeah.
Invisible art.
Clicking around the streets.
Passing through the viewer and through the flexible mirror, back and forth, in and out.
And still less.
Crystal forms enfolding mirrors.
Handgun, so it
The folding boy kissed by a crystal halo of distant shop windows and pale Swedish sunlight. Bus to the suburban house. Swedish modern furniture. Water hyacinths in a yellow bowl.
What is this? The IRA in 1916?
Crinkling from the crystal mirrors. Fear of the pocket without a switchblade. Fear of the streets empty of enemies. Fear of the china blue northern skies. William S. Burroughs, March 22nd, 1970. Invisible art, passing through the viewer and through the flexible mirror, back and forth, in and out. Crystal forms enfolding mirrors, the folding boy kissed by a crystal halo of distant shop windows and pale Swedish sunlight. Bus to the suburban house. Swedish modern furniture, water hyacinths in a yellow bowl. Crinkling from the crystal mirrors. Fear of the pocket without a switchblade. Fear of the streets empty of enemies. Fear of the china blue northern skies. William S. Burroughs, March 22nd, 1970.
Silky, supple mirrors to be folded, fooled. Soft constructions to be felt. Mirrors to be worn and warped, draped. Shapes to roll. Shapes to fool the eye and hand. Cool crystals, soft. Soft mirrors, errors not to be corrected. To be rolled. To be cooled, collected, felted, ruled. Brion Gysin, Paris, 22nd of March, 1970.